Okay, so today we're going to be making some additions to our lock item that we created, and I did make a few changes off camera that I can talk about real quick. They're really simple, so I didn't think it'd be worth it to spend much time on it. But the first thing that I did, I probably should zoom first. See if I can get the font size to be larger again. Increase. Looks a little bit better. Do it one more time. Alright, that'll be good enough for now. So I added a logger right here, and that allows us to just store some basic information while the mod is running. That we can get put into our log file, and then we can figure out more about what's going on later on. And then I used it just in a few places. I used it like in our different initialization phases so that it's on a really low level so most people won't see it, but for debug we can have it. And then I also added it to the proxy in these two places. So just really simple stuff. Didn't think it was going to be super important. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at making our item stuff a little bit better. So we're gonna do that by first adding an interface to be more forward-thinking. Well, I guess API first. So we're gonna make our API, and the purpose for that is to allow other mods to be able to make their own stuff with our system. And let's see, directory, Java. So the main is essentially just going to be moving some stuff out into a different package. And that might seem kind of silly, but if we want to have nice mod support, we need to be able to allow other people to add things if they want to, or make special integrations, or add just general support for other mods. And so it's important that we have an API that other people can use and get access to. There we go. So we just created a separate directory named API in our source folder. We did our Java section, and now we're going to add our package, which is just same thing as the mod itself plus API, and then we're going to make an interface, and we're going to name it iLock. And the I just stands for interface. It's a convention mostly from C#, but some Java developers have been picking it up as well. And we're not going to put any methods in it yet, just because we don't have anything, but this will make it easier for later. We're going to have an internal implementation of this. I might move it out into our API, but just for now. So our base implementation will just have all of the common functionality between all of the locks built into it. It's not item lock, it's iLock. Bam. Alright. We're also going to say that this extends our special lock-in key item, or base item class. And we are going to make it abstract. Okay. So I guess we still need the constructor. But that's fine. So this should not be with that warning. And we can change this to be item lock base. And again, this is just feature proofing it for when we add materials or special types of things like that. So we want to do some small adjustments. So the first thing we want to do is set the max stack size that our locks can be. And we do not want the locks to be able to stack. So set max stack size to 1. So now you can only have 1. And the reason for this is eventually we are going to want to make the key or the locks in like individual. So each one's going to be unique, and it's going to have its own special identifier, and we don't want those to stack. And I think that's going to be baked in anyway, but we're going to just make it explicit just to be on the safe side. So then the next thing we're going to do is add a really basic right-click event handler. So we're going to do, we pull it up actually on here, on item use first. Yeah. So this method is called whenever you right-click with an item on a block, and it's called before the block is updated, or called to update. So we bring that in. We can import all those things. That's fine. I'm going to return false by default. I think that's all we need. Yeah. So, I'm just going to rename a couple things because I like this better. And then this is kind of long for me, so we're going to split this up a little bit. There, that's fine. A little bit more readable. So the next thing we want to do is use our logger that we have. We're going to do info and we're going to say lock clicked on block. Sure. There's some crazy noises outside. We're going to just make it a little bit longer so it's easier to find. Alright, so we should be able to run this at this point. And should get some really basic stuff. The goal will be that when you right click with a lock on a block, it's so much rhyming, I feel like Dr. Seuss, we'll need to check if the block that you right clicked on is one of the blocks we support. So we're going to start with just doing the vanilla chest. That we support it, and if we don't, then we don't want to do anything more. If it is one that we support, then we want to change the way the block works internally. So it's being called twice, as you can see, but it is being called. And the reason it's being called twice is the way that Minecraft is implemented nowadays is there's a client and a server, even when you're playing single player, and that makes it easier for us to think about modding. If we just always know there's going to be a server, we can just pretend like things are happening remotely. So we want to know if we are remote or not. And so this might look a little bit weird, but essentially what this is saying is if the world itself is on the client is remote, we're always assuming the perspective of the server, then we want to just return right away. If it is not remote, we're on the server, then we're going to log our event. if we go back into our single player world, we right click, we see it once now. Just to make things easier for when we get to it, we're going to take out a chest. And now, so right now when you click, it goes and opens up the chest. Let's see if we can prevent that from happening. So return true to prevent any further processing. That's exactly what we want, so we want to return true. Let's launch it again. If we go to single player again, if we right click on it with our lock item, it should not open up the chest. But we can if we use an open hand, or anything else for that matter. So we're a little bit closer to getting to where we need to be. We don't, however, want this to happen if we click on something else. Let's say a furnace. We don't really want to be able to lock a furnace. So our next step will be to check for a certain item. And we're going to hard code the item for now until we get something better. So we need to get the block that we clicked on. So we can say iBlock state, which is the new way of doing blocks now. World.get block state. We have the block position. We'll import this. Then we need the actual block itself. So if block state dot get block equals, we want it to actually not equal items dot chest or block chest turn false. So this is going to prevent that blocking of the right click event for other blocks. We only want to block the chest.
Did you see my tweet? Tweeted for once.
And if we go in here,
Are you on break? What are you talking to?
recording. So if we take this, we should be able to open up the furnace, but we should not be able to open up the chest. Yep. And that is the case. So that'll be enough for now. I'm going to figure out how I want to handle this bit better. And then we can start also figuring out how we're going to apply the lock itself. So I will commit this quick. Okay. And we will just add these two. And we will, yeah, that'll be fine. Commit. Push. I like that these dots show up as different commits. That's cool. Or commits show up as dots that way. But yeah, so I will see you guys later.